Willis's watchdogs chomping at the bit today. The House has passed its first major bill relating to the Gulf oil spill. The bill lifts the cap on liability by any of the companies associated with the spill, meaning the families of those killed and injured will be compensated far more generously. All right, you need to meet our panel here. Comedian Jeff Havens, author of the book How to Get Fired, Mark Levine, a radio show talk host in Las Vegas, and Lisa G., reporter for Howard 100 News on Sirius Radio. Jeff, let's start with you. What do you make of this story?
Sure. Well, I think it's obvious that BP would prefer to have the old law in place since it's the only cap that they have any positive experience with. They don't seem to do very well with the caps they try to put on the oil all by themselves.
True.
But we're talking about laws from 1920 and 1851 that we're looking to update. And I know Transocean is trying to use that 1851 law in order to limit their liability to $27 million for the biggest environmental disaster in our country's history. So I think it's okay to update some of these antiquated laws. Just because a law's on the books doesn't mean it's necessarily good. Here's a great law, though. In 1953, Ohio passed a law making it illegal to be arrested on the 4th of July, which, just so you know,
this
folks,
gives me many ideas, Jeff.
I know.
Let's get
After
Mark
this
in
interview,
here.
I'm going
Let's
to
get
Ohio.
Mark in here. Hey, Mark, what do you make of this?
Well, I think it's good. I don't think it goes far enough. Remember, this only affects people who have been killed or injured. It doesn't affect the shrimpers and fishermen and the others who are limited to $75 million in economic damages. They need to lift that cap entirely. But Jeff is exactly right. The law states from 1850, because in 1850, the worst that could happen is your ship blows up, and so the worst is the damage to the ship. They didn't have these massive oil spills at that time. So this law is good. I support it. Doesn't go far enough.
Lisa?
Well, I'm going to have to agree with the guys. Look, I'm not a legal expert. I'm not an attorney. But what I know about the disaster and what I've heard from the survivors, I'm all for it. Lift the cap and give them more money. Yes, absolutely.
BP pays out. Okay. GM says its first half-year sales of vehicles in China overtook the U.S. for the first time. The 1.25 million GM vehicles sold in China is nearly a 50% gain over last year. So, Mark, why is GM doing so much better there?
I think it's great. Somebody's buying American cars. Way to go, President Obama, for getting China to devalue its currency. We need more exports. We need to sell more to China than the cheap toys that we're buying from them. This is great news. Some of the best economic news, frankly, I've heard in a while.
All right, Lisa?
And you know, if they have Sirius XM satellite radio, I'm all for it. So, look, hopefully it will springboard back to the States and help boost our economy, which is great. It is a domino effect, hopefully. You know, if it does well in China, hopefully.
And maybe they'll pay back what they owe us faster. Jeff, what do you say?
I happen to be with Mark and Lisa on this one. Any good news for any American company making money is great. Last I checked, GM's stock closed at 75 cents a share. I think it's awfully sad when you might decide to buy a share of General Motors stock because you don't quite have enough money for a thick burger. So I think it's fantastic. Hopefully this will get you to the point where, you know, GM is a viable company again.
Well, since we own it as taxpayers, I'm a happy stockholder, I guess. All right, next story. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's a car plane. Move over, George Jetson. A Massachusetts company says it will have a first flying car out to customers by the end of 2011. How much fun is that? It's already been granted special weight exemption from the FAA. I don't know if that's good. Lisa, what do you make of this?
Oh, my gosh. I love it. Any commuter into a big city, you know, who's been sitting in traffic, an hour delay on the George Washington Bridge every morning, I'm all for it. I cannot wait.
Jeff, what do you say?
I say it's about time. When I was a kid, I saw Back to the Future 2, and that movie promised me flying cars everywhere by 2015. I want what was given to me. I think it's a terrible idea, to be honest. You have seniors who confuse the gas and the brake pedal. Now they have to deal with up and down in three-dimensional space. I am not going to be the driving instructor for 15-year-olds learning how to navigate the flying car. It's going to be great. It's going to be an interesting experience. But I'm excited for it.
I'm scared to death. We've got mirrors to our left and our right and behind us. Now there's another mirror that has to look above us. I've seen the Jetsons, and they get in a lot of accidents. And I've also seen an LA freeway. I'm frightened.
All right. Okay, we've got another great story here. And, of course, it's about women. What will the retired ladies do? Alabama Governor Bob Riley is banning bingo. Do you hear me, people? Banning bingo. And it could leave 400 people without a job and a whole lot of women without much to do. Mark? What do you say about this?
Well, I'm in Las Vegas right now, so I can't condemn gambling. The city will come and cart me away. But I do think Alabama has the state's rights to do whatever it wants, and it wants to say that you can have live bingo but not slot machine bingo. That's well within its rights. I'll tell you, a lot of states just allow bingo for charities, and that makes sense to me, too.
Well, Jeff, help me out here. I'm trying to help the women.
Well, I mean,
I'm here for the 80-year-old women, okay?
I think Mark made an interesting point that Alabama's basically said that bingo is only acceptable and legal in church, which is sort of a weird distinction that they've got. But I mean, it's a harmless activity. It's your money. Spend it how you like. What are they going to do next? Are they going to outlaw tic-tac-toe in elementary school because it's a gateway into the seedy bingo underworld of Alabama? They're going to pull all the Connect Four games off the shelves? Yeah.
When I learned bingo in first grade, it wasn't gambling. It was a math tool, okay? And for women...
Sure.
We love bingo. I don't know the last time you played bingo. It is fierce. So I think it should be legalized in every state. And you know what? Bring back the old-time bingo with the 50 cars and the markers and trying to get the upside-down U and prizes and cars. I love it, love it, love it.
All right.
I think it's also going to cut into...
Go right ahead.
Oh, no, sorry. Go ahead. I was going to say, I think it's also going to cut into a lot of clothing sales because some of the outfits people wear to the bingo parlor are just stunning and really don't fit anywhere else.
Oh, you know what? You have no sense of humor. That's what it's all about. Give me a cigarette, a drink, some bingo cards, electronic bingo, whatever.
And we'll make that economy explode for you. One more story here. The Republican primary for Nevada County Commissioner determined by a card draw. I'm serious. Incumbent Andrew Boraski drew a queen of clubs to beat Carl Moore. In 2 previous elections, both candidates had gotten 381 votes. So state law says they have to pick a card and play the odds. Jeff?
I believe that, first of all, it's apropos that it's Nevada that they went by lot and draw, but we're also talking the Old West. What happened to pistols at dawn? That's how they used to do things out that way. And if that's too antiquated, UFC has become very popular in Vegas. I would love to see these two duke it out in the octagon. I think that is a pay-per-view event I would certainly pay for. You've got Carl the Patriot Moore versus Andrew the other Patriot Baranski. It would be absolutely gangbusters.
Wow, that's a great idea. Lisa?
Well, I think rock, paper, scissors would be a good way, too, like what the kids do. A little martial arts, but I think it's hilarious. I love it.
All right, Mark, what's your point of view on this?
I feel for the loser. I feel for the loser. The loser got a 10 of clubs, and I think that's the highest card I got in all my poker games last night, which is why I'm poor because of it. So, I feel his pain.
Well, I'm just glad you're not hungover today. I'm impressed that you're even in front of a camera.
Who says I'm not?
All right, guys. Thanks, Jeff, Mark, and Lisa. We really enjoyed having you.
Thanks. Happy 4th.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Jerry.
Happy 4th.